What up, YouTube? It's your boy Ghost. I'm coming to you from inside my house, or in my little office. Sitting up here going over numbers and a whole bunch of stuff that I got going on. I'm gonna show y'all my new clothing line, Still Hogging. Got my company shirts finally. It took a million years, but we there. I'm dropping this video today to speak on the cost of ownership or owning a fleet versus the cost of leasing a fleet. And you guys can take this, and I want you guys to really, for the ones that are trying to build fleets, that want to grow fleets, really take down these numbers and really think about them, and just compare and contrast the difference between the two. So let's get started. Now, the cost of owning, and mind you, this is only truck payments. This ain't maintenance or anything else like that, because it will be here all night. If I really broke down this for all y'all to understand, we'll be here all night. I ain't got time for that. I'm trying to go get me a steak dinner tonight and then rub on some booty. But anyways, the cost of ownership versus the cost of leasing a fleet. Let's start with, if you owned your truck or your fleet, if you owned it, we're gonna look at these numbers. Cost of ownership for owning one truck, $1,550 a month. That's your truck note. Now, after a 12-month period, you're gonna pay $18,600 for the year. Most trucks that are at $1,500 a month, we'll say you're on a 2-year plan, you're going to end up paying $37,200 after 2 years. And that means your truck will be paid in full. Now, let's look at if you had 8 of those trucks at $1,550 a month, $18,600 a year, $37,200 in a 2-year period. So with 8 trucks, your monthly payment just went from $1,550, now you're at $12,400 a month for all 8 of your trucks. Now, for the year, you're going to pay $148,800 for the year. That's paid, your trucks are paid for the year. That's how much you're going to end up spending if you're paying your truck note every month after a year. That's how much you're going to spend just on fleet truck, or your owning your finance trucks. You're going to pay $148,800 for the year. Now, in a 2-year span, say you're on a 2-year financial contract, $297,600 is all you're going to pay after 2 years, and you're going to walk away with the titles to all 8 of them trucks. Now, when we really look at that, when you really look at owning a truck, of course you're going to have a maintenance cost. Of course, depending on the number of miles your truck has or how well it's been taken care of, you could come out of pocket for an overhaul. Overhauls typically range between $10,000 to $20,000, depending on where you go. So, in reality, your bottom line, when you really look at all 8 of them trucks, after a 2-year period of just grinding it out, you're going to own all that. So now that $12,400 a month goes into your pocket. So every month you're doing an overhaul on each of those 8 trucks if you want. That's if you need it. But you have $12,400 to play with, because now you have truck notes. No truck notes. And on top of that, when you really look at it, with the 8 of those fleet, with your 8 paid off trucks, $297,000, well, even $148,800 for the year, that's a brand new Freightliner Cascadia or a Peterbilt. So each year you can buy a brand new truck, brand new right off the lot with a full warranty on it, if that's what you choose to do. And it's paid in full. So you could replace all 8 of them trucks within, we'll say what, an 8-year period. You can have a brand new fleet every single year because you can recycle them 8 trucks that had titles. Guess what? Now you can sell them. It really depends on how you want to structure your business and how you do your business. But there's so many ways and so many just opportunities that you can do with them 8 paid off trucks after a 2-year period, or even during the year, because you got to think about it. That's just truck notes. If you really set your business up right, you should have truck notes and you should have maintenance put away. You should have all that just ready to go. And say if you own all your trailers, well, you have a zero debt, basically zero debt. Now let's look at the cost of leasing a fleet. Oh, and also, before we go into leasing the fleet, back to owning it. Say if one of them drivers bails or you don't have nobody to drive the truck, you can sit that truck down. No harm, no foul. You ain't got no truck note on it, no nothing. It can sit for damn near a year and you ain't got nothing to worry about. Now, let's go to the cost of leasing a fleet. Just owning nothing, just straight leasing. Just financing everything. Well, leasing everything. So, the cost of leasing that fleet, most leases that you get into, it's $750 a week, or that's equivalent to $3,000 a month. That's for one truck, $3,000. For the year, you're going to pay $36,000 for the year. Most of them brand new trucks and that you get in these leases have a 7-year bid on them. So it's basically within 7 years, even though, you could turn it in after a certain number of mileage. But after 7 years, you're going to end up paying $252,000 for one truck. Mind you, it's one truck. That's a lot of money. So that's with one truck. Now let's look at a fleet of 8. So every month, you're going to owe $24,000 a month for 8 trucks. For the year, you're going to spend $288,000. Now, say if you just turn the trucks in after, we'll look at a 7-year bid. 7 years. Out of 7 years of just continuing just to do leasing, you would have paid the leasing company $2,216,000. So you would have paid them $2 million in a 7-year span. Of course, when you look at the whole leasing of fleet, you have the warranties. And you can turn it in right before the warranty expires and you can get a brand new truck. But you're continuing that cycle of the $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year, potentially spending $252,000 in 7 years on leasing that fleet. Of course, the benefits of it is that's all write-offs, which you can do the same thing with the financing too. You just have to know how business works. But we're not going to get into that. This is just truck notes. And of course, you got maintenance. You got things that the warranty that doesn't cover on the leased trucks, which is like airlines and compressors. Well, some compressors, I think, yeah. But the airlines, anything that's not engine related or transmission related or emissions related, it's not covered under warranty. I'm sorry, it's not. So when you really look at it, of course, the numbers are double when it comes to, we'll say, owning a truck. You're at $12,400 for that 8 truck fleet that's financed versus $24,000 for that 8 truck fleet that is leased. Now, after your 2-year mark, with your finance trucks, they're all paid off. After your 2-year mark with these leases, you're still paying $24,000 a month, or you're still paying $288 a year. Versus when you finance, you have the titles, you have more leverage when you finance versus with leasing, because if anybody jump ship or anything like that, guess what? That truck payment is still due. So say if you don't find a driver in 30 days, it's $3,000 per truck. If you go a whole year, it's $36,000 for one truck. That's a lot of money to just give away. And then something else that you guys got to understand, it's a huge learning curve when it comes to leasing a truck under your authority, having a leased fleet under your authority versus being leased onto a carrier. When you're under your own authority, you don't have help. When my injectors blew in my truck, I just couldn't go to the company and be like, hey, let me borrow $5,000 and fix my injectors and stuff. I had to come out of pocket for that, whether that truck was leased or financed. You guys got to understand, it's a huge difference. It's a huge learning curve. It's like night and day. It's apples and oranges. So you guys be the judge on what you feel makes better sense. Leasing a fleet, if you're a small carrier like me, under your own authority. Or, I mean, if you wanted to lease a fleet, we'll say what LaShawn and Woody and them are doing with an RST with Prime. Of course, Prime has their back. Prime is if something happens, they can take them trucks. They can go in a hole. Prime got them. It's consistent freight. And they'll just bill them every week until they get out the hole. It's no different than doing a lease purchase with Prime, or a lease purchase with, we'll say, Snyder, or a place like that, because they got your back, because they need their freight moved. Now, you have somebody do that under their own authority, it's a whole different monster. You can't take 8 trucks and think you're going to manage under your own authority without trailers. Because, see, it's one thing to own a fleet leased onto a carrier, and it's another thing to own a fleet and being under your own authority. Because you need trailers. Without trailers, you ain't going to move. You can do power only, but you ain't going to really hit your potential and really make the type of money that you truly need to make. So, with that being said, you guys can take this video, y'all can dissect it, y'all can implement it into your own business, because that's what I did. And I realized financing for me is the better option, because it makes more financial sense, we'll say within a 2 to 7 year period, versus me leasing a whole bunch of trucks. It's too much of a headache. Now, what you could do, you could own and you could finance. So you could own and you could lease. But I mean, that's up to you. What you could own 8 trucks, and then you can go back and finance 8 trucks. You can go back and lease 8 trucks. So that way you got 8 paid off trucks. So if anything happens to them lease trucks, guess what? You got 8 trucks to back them up. Now that's making financial sense. That's being a smart business owner. So, that's how I think. I don't know about everybody else in the universe, but for me, it's better to own a fleet under my own authority, because I don't have the backbone of daddy, which is the mega carriers. I don't have none of that. I just got me, myself, and I. Versus, me leasing a fleet. I'll be bankrupt somewhere. So yeah, it's your boy Ghost. I hope you guys liked this video. Hope you guys took something from it. So yeah, love, peace, prosperity, and I'll catch y'all in the next video. Deuces.